Hello, and welcome to Talking About Podcast where we talk about anything and everything. I planned on the last episode being the last episode of 2025, which I think is was a really great episode. It's very emotional, very packed, slam poetry esque, but um, I've had some things happen, and not necessarily happen, but some things that I've kind of realized. Um, because yeah, I finally came to terms with a few things, and it's really hard for me to come to terms with those things because at the end of the day, I really don't want to. And at the end of the day, I've been blocking it on my life for months. So, anyways, this is what I wanted to talk about today, and it's it's been something that's been on my mind. Something that's not easy to talk about at all. I'm already tearing up thinking about talking about it, but I wrote a little something as I've been writing a little bit more recently because I've needed to process things. But here we go. It's a love letter to I think the one and only person that I've truly loved. um, yeah, I mean obviously this is about an ex. I got to be that person that just drags things along. Obviously, like I just have to be that toxic person, that toxic ex. But here's here's that letter. It's okay that you don't love me anymore. I've been telling myself that like it's a truth that I can set down gently, like a glass that won't shatter if I let go. I say it quietly, almost kindly, but it doesn't stop the memories from knocking anyway. I think about sitting in your car for hours, not going anywhere, really not needing to, just talking, letting the world pass by outside the windows while we stayed suspended in that small, safe space we made with our words and laughter and silence that never felt awkward. I think about the first night in our new apartment, 3,000 miles away from home. How brave we pretended to be. How we laid on the air mattress that slowly deflated between us, laughing, adjusting, and talking about life and what this was supposed to be look like for us. Two people building something from scratch with nothing but hope, a lot of exhaustion, and love that felt bigger than our apartment. I miss the phone calls that lasted for hours, the way our voices would get softer as the night went on, falling asleep knowing the other person was still on the line, breathing, present, like a distant like distance couldn't touch us if we stayed awake long enough. I miss the way we flirted like idiots, drawing pictures on Snapchat messages just to make each other laugh. Stick figures, bad jokes, little doodles that somehow said more than words ever could. I miss how you were too nervous to say I love you out loud. How you'd only text it. Like seeing it written made it a little bit safer. Like it might disappear if we spoke it into the air. I miss the late night movie trips where the movie barely mattered. That was disgusting. I'm so sorry. We just Okay, let me restart. I'm so sorry. I missed the late night movie trips where the movie barely mattered. We just wanted to be near each other, whispering, laughing, and brushing hands in the dark. I miss the way we laughed and cuddled, the way it felt so easy to exist together, like we had always known how to fit. I remember singing songs just for you, holding on to them like little gifts, thinking, this is us. This will make her think of me. This will just be like her music taste. I remember making an entire podcast just so you could hear my voice when I couldn't be there, when calling was impossible, when I was back in Oregon. As if I could leave pieces of myself behind for you to find when you miss me. I think about walking through Ross, picking out plates and cups, and way too many mugs for our new apartment. How silly and domestic it felt. How important it was to us. How important each mug was machine washable because we were too lazy to do dishes. For once, we weren't just borrowing or sharing someone else's life. We were choosing things that were ours, together. I remember the way you told your mom about us, and the way I never told mine. How heavy the difference was, even when we didn't say it out loud. How we just kept it a secret until we didn't. How freeing and terrifying it was when the truth finally existed just outside of us. I remember the months we avoided each other because we didn't want to fight. Because loving each other felt easier than risking hurting each other. Because sometimes silence feels safer than honesty when you're afraid of losing everything. I remember how you got me into writing and always pushed me to write more until we began to fight. Or not fight, until we began to fight. And I stopped. Because it felt too much, like too much pressure. Too much pressure to put my own thoughts of our relationship ending on paper because I was afraid it'd be true. Any love story between us carries its own weight. The tenderness, the fear, the secrecy, the courage it takes just to say this is real. Ours was no different. It was soft and loud and complicated and beautiful. It mattered, even if it ended. And it's okay that you don't love me anymore. But I loved you in all the ways that counted. And I think in some quiet corner of mine, it still means something. That's as far as I got. I'll be honest. I don't think I'll ever be able to read that without crying. Um, what kind of made me possessed to kind of dive back into writing is just everything that has been happening, everything in my life. And this is one of those things that's like, it's very hard to even try to process because at the end of the day, we haven't been together in over a year. And just even like thinking about that like really hurts because I hadn't even realized it'd been a year. I hadn't even realized that that much time had passed from when something was between us and when something wasn't between us. And it's so hard to even think about a time where we aren't together because still now like in my mind I everything I think about goes straight to you, or I guess straight to them, if that makes sense. Because I still see cars and I'm like, oh my god, I still see the stupid ass Kia Soul driving down the road. I'm like, maybe that's us in another lifetime. Maybe we're sitting in your car instead of mine because yours actually had heating and mine didn't. It just makes me really sad, and I think I hold on to it so much because it was so many, not so many, just because it was my last years of high school, and some like just so many first things happened. And I'm not just talking about like sex and kissing and stuff like that. I'm talking about like moving into a new apartment, moving across the country, saying goodbye. Like those are firsts. I had never said goodbye to anybody before then, before moving. And it's really hard. And when I say things like this all the time, and I tell myself, I'm like, well, maybe one day it will happen again. Maybe one day I can be better. And then I sit in this self-loathing period of time where I never get better, and I just sit here in my own sadness, and I stink, and I'm gross because I'm sad, and I think, oh, maybe give me a week and I'll be back. Give me a week and I'll be better for her. Give me a week and I can try again. And at the end of the day, it comes back to something um that was said by them to me, and she had said that when we did love each other, it hurt, and it wasn't a great type of love. It became a love of like loathing and jealousy rather than a love of kindness and caring. And at the end of the day, that love is what fucking destroyed us, and what has destroyed me because since Since that first conversation, I have been nothing but a fucking shell of myself, and I think that's why I cherish the people that I do, is because they were the people who were my family when I had no family near me and no family back in the apartment that I chose with her. And it just makes me really sad. I mean, obviously I'm sitting here crying about it a year later. And it's like I've tried, I'll admit, I've tried talking to other people, and I've tried thinking about going and seeing somebody else or trying to have that something with somebody else, and I just can't. Because at the end of the day, I think in my mind that it can still work, and I really hope it can, because at the end of the day, I wish it was us. But deep, deep down in my brain, the very tip of my brainstem, I know it won't work, you know? And this is something that I just kind of want to leave um, in this year, quote unquote. You know, It's December 30th. You know, fuck me, dude. It's 12:30 a.m. You know, it's something that I want to leave in this year, and it's something that I don't want to say goodbye to, but I need to. And I don't want to say goodbye to her. I want to say goodbye to the weight that I had with her. I'm not saying that I was fat. I mean, I am, but the mental and emotional weight that I had with her. And I definitely still hope for the best and everything. And I don't want to have like revenge, you know, I don't want to be in my villain arc or whatever, you know, I think at the end of the day, I'm just fucking hurt because I put so much pressure on this relationship working. And I just hoped and hoped and hoped. But, you know, here we are. A year later, sitting here sobbing like a fucking child because I can't fucking say my own feelings, you know. Okay. I'm gonna end this here because I have nothing else to say at this point. Um, but yeah, I mean, I hope she hears this. But yeah, there will always be a part of me that's you know, that always holds on to this. And I just hope it wasn't all for nothing, you know. Anyways, thank you for listening, and thank you for sitting here through my fucking shit show. So, yeah. This was great to let go. I'm not sure if this is actually going to come out or not, but yeah. Thank you for listening. Be a good person. Tell someone you're grateful for them. And I'll see you next time.